Welcome to the show. Today's topic we are discussing is Architects of Destiny, Forging the Dreams of Workforce. We have Sunil and Thomas joining us on the call to have this session progress. Thomas, over to you.
Okay. Have you got the video plugged in that end, Prem?
Yes, I have, Thomas. You want me to play it?
Yes, let's start with that and then we'll take it from there. That'll be wonderful.
Sure, Thomas. I am running it.
In today's rapidly evolving business landscape, the role of individual managers in shaping the future of their teams and organizations has never been more crucial. Rather than relying solely on HR or external recruiters, it's time for managers to reclaim their rightful place as architects of destiny, driving workforce planning and development with clarity, purpose, and vision. At the heart of this transformation lies the Regenesis framework, a powerful methodology that empowers managers to take charge of workforce planning and development. By focusing on actionable steps, Regenesis enables managers to answer critical questions that lay the foundation for a thriving workforce. What is the mission of the organization, and how does it align with the team's objectives? What contribution does each team member make towards achieving this mission? What skills and capabilities are needed to deliver extraordinary results? How does the current team profile align with future requirements, and what changes are needed? What is the development plan for each team member, and how will new hires be sourced and integrated? But Regenesis goes beyond just asking questions. It provides a structured approach for managers to translate their vision into reality. From crafting job effectiveness descriptions to conducting behavioral-based interviews, Regenesis equips managers with the tools and resources they need to build high-performing teams that drive organizational success. It's time to empower your managers to become the architects of destiny, the leaders who shape the future of your organization with purpose and passion. With Regenesis as their guide, they will chart a course towards excellence, innovation, and sustainable growth. Take action today and unleash the full potential of your managers. Let them lead the way towards a brighter tomorrow.
Okay, hello everybody. This is a really important topic. The whole basis of what we call Regenesis is that every month we have the ability, all of us have the ability to join forces within our organizations and sometimes through Regenesis even between organizations to focus our attention on a particular area where we can make 1 or 2% or more percent difference in a month. Now, obviously, across a year, across a month, that doesn't sound much, but across a year, that's 12 to 24% or much more growth and expansion and improved revenue in the organization. So all of these things start to make a difference. And across a decade, of course, that's doubling the size of the organization or more, sometimes much more. So all of these building blocks are really important. And today, we're going to talk about a piece of focus, a piece of work that most managers these days have dropped out of for whatever reason. And we would like you to encourage yourself and other people to get back in to the whole of the workforce planning and the appointment of people agenda. This Architects of Destiny actually refers to your role as the architect of the future through the people that you realize you will need in order for the vision of the organization to be realized, its growth to be built and developed and delivered. And through all of that, we can see there's a really powerful role to be done. In most organizations these days, or at least in many, I would say the vast majority, recruitment and workforce planning tends to be done top down. And I don't think that makes for the best situation. In fact, I think it's one of the many factors behind this dissatisfaction we're seeing in the workplace, where we've got the great resignation and the reluctance of people to really commit to their roles in the organization. So let's just talk about what we think are the really key actions. At the end of this session, you can access this handout. So just send us your email in the chat, and we will forward this summary to you. This is like the action checklist. And organization. What's the mission of your team? What's the contribution your team makes to the mission of the organization? What's the vision for that mission? And the difference between a mission and a vision, if you like, mission can be translated to the fundamental purpose. This would be just a few words that says what you actually are there for. It's your mission. The vision is the picture, if you like, a pen picture of the future as it will be once the organization is successful in, say, 3 to 5 years' time. So what's your vision? What's your picture of the future for your organization? In order to deliver that vision and mission, what people, what skills, what capabilities will be needed in the team, your team, in order for extraordinary results to be delivered? And you can start the whole process very simply by starting with, okay, let's start with your current age profile. If you were to list all the people in your team, what's the age profile? Are they predominantly young, predominantly older workers, or are they a mix of people in between? And do you need to notice that? Have you got a bulge in one area or another? Have you got a preponderance of younger workers, or have you got a preponderance of your older workers where they're going to all leave the organization at approximately the same time? That could be catastrophic unless you do something to address that. And then once you've got a picture of who's in the team and the age profiles, what's the current skills potential of all of those people? So how appropriate is their current performance? Things like how's sickness absence levels running? And what about their personal situations of each member? In your one-to-ones with your direct reports, what's the degree of fit between that person, their life, and the job that they're currently in? Is some flexibility or adjustment perhaps needed there? What's the current skills and potential of each team member? So what we might need to upgrade their skills in the coming months or years. How about numbers, grades, and skill profiles? How does that line up with what you've got today? And how does it line up with what you need in the future? What changes will be required? What's the development plan for each of the existing teams? So for each member, how will they need to grow and develop and change over the coming months and years? And it's possible you'll also need some new people. And if so, where will they be sourced? Inside the organization or outside or in the wider organization? And then when you're thinking about the future, can you, instead of writing person specs and job specs, can you write a job effectiveness description, which is basically their role description plus the outcomes they will need to deliver in the future? And how will completion be measured? And then finally, to become a really great operational and personal interviewer, the best predictor of whether a person will be able to do a role in the future is whether they have done part or all of that role before. And also, how well are they equipped for personal resilience and emotionally to take that role on? Will they really be able to cope with it, or is it going to be a strain and a struggle? Most people are. So if you can take all these points as the kind of the action backdrop that the managers, you as a manager, can so easily do, then I think that provides a very sound basis to open this conversation. So now, what are your thoughts on the subject?
Thank you, Thomas. Indeed, Thomas, the concept of forging the dream workforce, what we are talking today, that is the most important topic right now in this changing environment. There was a time when we used to call that we have to satisfy the customer, we have to delight the customer. But today, it is a time when we have to focus more on employee and workforce. But how to develop that dream workforce, that is very, very important. Here, when we talk regarding the workforce, basically we are talking three stakeholders. We are talking regarding organization, we are talking regarding managers,
we are talking regarding workforce. So the most important objective is that we have to achieve the organizational goal. Now the question is how we will achieve that destiny, how we will achieve that objective. So it is not possible without a skilled workforce, without the dream workforce, without the workforce which is equipped with the right skill set, without the workforce who are aligned with organizational objective, without the workforce clearly knows their deliverables, without the workforce ready to take the challenges, without the workforce ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn, without the workforce ready to collaborate, without the workforce which who is ready to adopt new way of doing the things in this changing environment. But the question is, who will take the lead, who will be the architect of this dream workforce. This is not the age when manager will depend on the HR, manager will depend on learning and development team, manager will depend on recruiters. This is the time when manager has to wear that hat and manager has to take the lead. So the role of manager is very, very important here. And the concept of forging the dream workforce speaks the proactive and transformative nature of manager-led workforce development. So manager are the architect. They have to understand, they have to forge each and every team members what is their potential, and they have to forge each team member's potential into a cohesive unit that drives organizational success. So at Regenesis, what we do, we help the managers that how to do it, how to develop a dream workforce which will lead to success. So that is the whole objective what we do here. Thomas, exactly as far as Regenesis framework is concerned, we always say that manager is the pillar of the organization. They have to play a vital role. And without this dream workforce, success is not possible. But for developing that dream workforce, role of manager is very, very important. So we help the organization to prepare their managers to to have that hat, to lead that role, to become an architect, to develop that dream workforce.
Sure, absolutely, Sunil. Okay, where would you like us to go next, Prem? Okay, I'm not sure you can hear this, so I'll continue here. Thank you, Sunil. That was a very compelling summary there about the Regenesis framework. And I think what we're seeing is the need for, once again, managers to come back into the fore of the planning the future of not only the organization, but also people's lives, and ultimately it's the future of society. So how we go forward is going to depend a lot on those in the management role. And as Sunil's just said, the Regenesis framework serves as a toolbox for managers, equipping them with the methodologies they need to turn visions into reality. And we see this structured approach to workforce planning and the creation of the dream workforce is really crucial to moving ahead. And it addresses one of the big weaknesses just now. What we're seeing is when we have not very detailed workforce planning, we tend to meet the needs of the moment, but actually we're not very powerfully building the future. And this can be critical in places like startup environments, where unless the startup has actually built a workforce that's ready for it to grow rapidly as the organization, as the startup takes off, it's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons why so many startups fail. And I always find it shocking to realize that more than 90% of startups actually are not successful. And this is one of the big reasons. They just haven't quite got the kind of dream workforce in place ready to rock and roll, and they're not prepared, ready to do what is necessary to allow organization take off. So, now, would you like to comment on that? I know you've got a lot of experience with startups.
Yeah, I think by embarrassing this Regenesis framework, manager gains the confidence and clarity how to navigate the complexity of workforce development. It helps in transforming the managers as a visionary leader, leading their team towards a shared destiny of excellence and achievement. So this framework is very, very important for the managers. And here at Regenesis, we help the managers to develop that confidence, to get that clarity. And when they get this clarity, they know what exactly they have to do, how to develop the skill set of the workforce, and that clarity leads towards the success.
Great.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that, Sunil and Thomas. Let's delve deeper into this process of crafting the blueprint of success with the content of managers-led workforce. How do managers translate their vision into actionable plans that propel teams? Thomas and uh, Sunil, how do we bring teams to propel to their successes? So that's the uh, detail I would like to have or hear from you both, Thomas and Sunil.
Okay, for sure. I think as we started in the summary at the beginning of this session, it has to start with managers really focusing on and being involved in crafting the blueprint for success for the organization. It begins with absolute clarity and understanding of the organization's mission, its vision, and its key areas for action, in other words, its goals. And what managers need to do is to think about how what they and their team are doing aligns with the wider organization's objectives, how their team's objectives align with a broader vision, and ensuring all the action that's taking place actually joins together with that bigger picture. That makes an enormous difference for the effectiveness of the organization. And then you can start on the job of building the dream workforce. Sunil, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely, Thomas. Absolutely. Prem, this is very, very important points that how to craft this blueprint for the success. And I will say that, we always talk regarding a smart goals. So here exactly the same thing. What managers have to do? Manager have to set the clear objective, clear goals. They should define the skill matrix of their team members. So I will say there are 4 points. Number one, manager have to set the clear goals. Manager had to define the skill matrix of their team members. Manager has to identify the skill and capabilities required to deliver the success. This is very, very important. What exactly you want to achieve, and that skill set you are having or not. Then creating a roadmap to develop that skill set among the team. So these 4 5 points are very, very important. And we always say that, when we say the manager has clear vision, this means that vision is basically a smart, that vision is clearly defined. They should know what exactly they have to do. So again, I'm repeating it. The goal should be very clear. The skill matrix should be ready of their team members. Then again, identify the skill and capabilities required to deliver the objective of the organization. Then creating a roadmap to develop that skill set among the team. If they will do these things, then of course, what we are talking to develop the dream workforce, that is possible. And at Regenesis, what we do, that our framework provides a systematic approach to this process. So that systematic approach we basically inbuilt, or we culture, we inherit to the through those managers. And by doing this, we empower the managers to break down those complex goals to manageable tasks and milestones, and that gives the clarity.
Yeah, that's a crucial aspect, Sunil. Now, how do we, the managers, measure their blueprint for success? That's one. It's not theory, right? You cannot say theory and then you say this has. They have to live by breathing that roadmap, and that guides that their team to action. So, Actions are more important while we talk of having a blueprint, and that blueprint has to be in sync with what the team is having, and they should live by that blueprint, is what we are saying, right, Tom? Sunil?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. In the management, we always talk regarding the smart goals. So that
Yeah.
should be clear, that should be defined, that should be measurable, that should be achievable, and that should be the most important part is measurable. And one more thing I want to add it here, that should be very, very transparent. That should be, because there should not be any smell of biased. So when you are
Mhm.
developing a system which is not biased, which is transparent, that creates a healthy environment, healthy competition within the team also, and that encourages the team members to learn more, deliver more, and that is basically I will say a dream team. What we are talking today.
That's great, absolutely, Sunil. And one of the things I'd like to drop in here, I think, is the way Regenesis works is very, very simple, which is why it works, of course. Um, the way we work with people, we provide essentially a briefing session once a month on a particular area of focus. Now, this dream workforce piece is just one of the months. So a focus on this in 1 month actually is preceded some months earlier by the work around team building and working one-to-one with individuals. Because it's once you've got those relationships built, if you join those two things together, you've then got the beginnings of a really great framework for collaboration and fostering a culture of accountability within the team. And that makes such a difference when you're thinking ahead. If you really know the individuals in the team, in your team, if you really know the individuals and how they work together and their potential for the future and how their personal life, if you like, their own personal priorities dovetail with their work priorities, so you begin to understand them as people as well, then that makes a much richer culture within which to build a fantastically empowered team that can communicate well with each other. They can properly joined into the vision of the organization of the team. Uh, and they imagine their own vision effectively, and they work as empowered team members and take ownership of the development process. But of course, all of that comes from our behavior as manager, and that's why we either provide group sessions just once a month, an hour. It's easy to access, and people can join in, or they can get access to a one-to-one process as well, where we can work with them in a much more bespoke way. It just depends on what the organization is needing, what the individual managers or organization heads are needing. But we work with them on a regular basis, and that's the key, is dropping in. And then this provides a Regenesis cycle, if you like, through the year that is sustainable. It can be repeated year after year. And though in any 1 month there might only be 1 or 2 or 5% growth, if you add all the years together, as I said at the beginning, that begins to be a much bigger, much more worthwhile number. And as organization value and revenue and profit begins to flow, so salaries must ultimately follow, particularly for the managers that are able to orchestrate these things. And our job is simply to provide a guiding framework, if you like, a sequence of think areas that or action areas that are addressed by the whole of the management team collaborating in a synchronous way. And all of that makes such a huge difference in the Regenesis process. So what we attempt to do is to provide the stimulus and the resources that managers need to succeed. And we would invite you to come and join us and come and join in the process and see how you get on with it, because you can make a big difference to your organization and your own life, and of course to all your employees.
Indeed, Thomas, by fostering a culture of continuous learning and development and improvement, that manager ensures that their team's blueprint for success evolve in response and changing circumstances and opportunities. So basically here we always say there are two things. Number one, the development of that culture of learning. So that is most important. Prem, you know that in this changing environment, the digital transformation of the organization is a big challenge. So unless we develop that culture, that is not possible. Because and I will say one more thing. This has to start from the top. This is not a start from the bottom. Because first realization should happen at manager level. They need to understand that how this digital transformation is important. So this digital transformation is one example. So similarly, today we are talking Industry 4.0. Today we are talking IoT. Today we are talking regarding usage of the new technology. So those a skill set manager has to understand that these skill sets are required. This is the requirement of the time. So they have to basically understand that our workforce is equipped with these skill set or not. And if we have to compete with our competition in this changing environment, then what are the skill set our people should have? So they have to develop that. And they have to motivate their team members to acquire those knowledge. They have to give that opportunity to them. And in fact, this process is a very dynamic process, and that requires three things. Number one, adaptability. Number two, creativity. And number three, resilience. So with this only, any organization revolves. To be honest with you, if the organization will focus on this, we have seen the organization, the growth journey, the acceleration of the growth is multifold.
Yeah, the point what you said is adaptability, creativity, and resilience is very important. And in the organizations, they have to spearhead the digital transformation to the core areas and bring up the requirements and make the team understand how digital transformation has to take over, and the assets that are there are to be configured in such a way that they enable themselves for quick and easy automation stuff that is going to happen and manually stopping the work that is there. So digital transformation predominantly talks about automation, what we are doing at a task, making it simpler, accessible, and making any platform adaptable for the end user. The user experience becomes more critical when we talk about digital transformation, right? So it's a good reflection that we have to see the goal of the manager-led workforce developing, realizing the vision of excellence. How do managers transform their blueprint into tangible outcomes that propel their teams towards greatness? Thomas and Sunit.
Okay, I think that the key to a lot of this is just staying focused on realizing the vision of excellence that we're looking for. Um, so as we move forward, we need to focus on a number of really key areas. Obviously, with the digital transformation that's taking place, we are in not only in a process, but we're in a time, an era of continuous improvement. Things are changing so rapidly where virtually every role can be assisted in some way by technology or AI. So we need to keep an eye out for that, whilst at the same time making sure that the AI and the technology doesn't take over people's lives, it doesn't take over too many of the roles, because uh, left out of control, left unmanaged, that too could become, take our control, take our societies out of balance. So managers must monitor the progress. Secondly, they must provide feedback, and they must continuously adjust and refine their strategies as needed to stay on course towards the goals. And this kind of place where we started with the mission, what's the fundamental purpose of the organization, and what's its vision for its contribution to the world. It's very easy to get sidetracked into a vision of making money or to a plan of making money and lose the plot altogether. And then, of course, once the mission and the vision have become lost, then the organization and even its finances can be lost. So that's not a good way to go. So we do need to stay focused on what we are really there for, what we're trying to achieve in the world. And I think that's profoundly important and needs to guide all workforce development. And, we talk about the dream workforce. Well, that's people. They're the people that will guide the development of the whole of our world around us. The more human brains on this there are, the better, because I don't think any level of technology can take it from us and still do as good a job as we might do. So now, what are your thoughts?
Absolutely, Thomas. Basically, Prem, the excellence is very, very important word, and achieving this excellence is a journey. It's not overnight, and it requires three things. Number one, whatever success you are achieving, you have to celebrate those successes, and at the same time, you have to prepare for this. You have to prepare yourself for the failures. So success will also happen, failure will also happen, but during these moments, during these periods, the team should never lose the sight. You should never lose the focus. What exactly the ultimate objective is, and they should be ready that there will be successes, there will be failures. During the success, they must celebrate those successes. I have seen in lot of organization they are not celebrating the successes. They find that this is the objective. Once I will achieve this objective, then we will celebrate. That time will come, but at the same time, in order to achieve that big objective, in during in this road, in this journey, whatever a small successes are coming, that need to be celebrated. So that gives moral boost up to the people, that gives the moral boost up to the workforce, that gives the moral boost up to the managers. So this is very, very important, that they should celebrate a small successes. The second is they should prepare for the failure. If they have failed, they should not go down. They should prepare for that. Sachin Tendulkar always used to say, okay, if I have made 100, that's fine. But if today I'm out at zero, then also I should learn what mistake I have done. Virendra Sehwag always used to say that when I have to play, then I used to sing a song, and after that, there is nothing in my mind, and then I go and I strike, and my strike rate is very good at that point of time. So important is during those failures time also, those leader has demonstrated that they have not get frustrated. They have learned from those failures. So that is important. And during this period, they should never lose the sight. So by fostering a culture of excellence and achievement, manager inspire their team to reach the new heights and performance and innovations. So the whole process needs a well-defined, transparent, measurable deliverables, what I was talking before also. So the whole process, the key is that you should define the transparent and measurable deliverables. Believe me, Prem, I have seen lot of organization when the bosses have not clearly defined the KRA of their down the line people. They don't know what exactly they have to achieve. So what happens? They come and go. They do 10 to 5 job. They are unable to understand what exactly they have to. They're busy for whole day. So the measurable, clear, defined KRA and transparent system must be at place. This not only promotes the teamwork, but it also nullifies any doubt like biases, favors, etc. And when we are talking that developing a dream workforce, these systems and processes are very important. The nutshell, I will say that manager has to take the lead. We at Regenesis help the organization to develop their manager to take the lead. They should not dependent on HR, that this is the role of HR. This is the role of L&D team. No, HR doesn't know the technical aspect. HR can only facilitate. They can't should have that hat. So manager has to take the lead. They should get facilitated by HR team and L&D team. And here at Regenesis, we prepare the manager to take the lead.
Yeah, so agreed, Sunil. So there are a lot of things that you have covered over a short period where you're talking about resilience, you're talking about KRAs, you're talking about measurement, you're talking about enablement, you're talking about collaboration there. So Everything is very clear that a manager has to take care of the team and build the second line. That's the second point. That, see, KRA KPIs can be defined and say reviewed at once in 6 months or a year during appraisal. That's not the idea a manager should have, is what I understand. According to me, that there's an issue, you'll have to discuss it right away and say this is where we feel there is a difference in opinion, or the KRA is not meeting, and that's where things can change as a manager looking at it. Now, how do organizations ensure that manager-led workforces development becomes ingrained into the culture, driving sustainable success and long-term on the over the long term? So that has to be put in a process, right? How do you look at that, Thomas? Here,
I think the place it has to start is by complete leadership buy-in and acceptance of the need for managers to be genuinely involved and committed to prioritizing workforce development and future workforce planning as a strategic imperative. I know from my own experience in big, medium, and small sized organizations, if you try and do it from the top, you are missing a dimension, and the organization's performance will suffer if you miss that dimension, which is properly envisioning in detail, team by team, exactly what a really fantastically functioning organization like yours will be like in the future. And then peeling that back through layers of discussion and study and kind of careful consideration. What will we need and want the people to be doing? When it's working excellently well, what will these people will be doing? And it's that we need to plan for. And then we need to look at the existing workforce and say, right, does the existing capability set and the skill set of the organization match what we need in the future? It's a journey of transformation. It requires, careful preparation by the managers. And more than anything else, we need to show managers the simple skills that's necessary for them to do this work really well. So, I'm sure you're going to have something to add to this about this manager-led workforce. Would you like to chime in here?
Yeah, indeed, Thomas. Very valid things Prem was asking, that how manager-led workforce development is possible and all. So here there are two things, Prem, very important. You know, the when we talk this manager has to lead this workforce development, then we talk two things, two mindset. Number one, ownership. So days have gone when manager has to work as a manager. We have to manage this job. No,
right, right.
he is the owner of that particular area. He is the owner of that particular division. He is the owner of that particular role. So that is the one thing. The second is entrepreneurship. When we are calling, we feel that entrepreneurship means a startup. No, every manager has to work as an entrepreneur. They have to understand that this is my role and this division is I am managing the P&L of this division.
Yeah, I was about to take that, Sunil. When you were saying PNL, I used to work for a big MNC here in India. So we had managers who used to run PNLs, and the structure was very clear that bring your team, make your team, pay your team, all is yours. So manager has to take care of everything. So the manager is responsible for the growth of the team, for motivating the team, bringing the project to success, not having showing a revenue growth to the bottom line also, and also bringing up new initiatives to see how revenue can be increased within the account. So if you have an account, you become a foster for new requirements. You find out new requirements, how you can enable. I was having some of the seniors who were part of that organization. They used to say, today, this project that you are working is a very small project. See, customer has a pain point. So, how your team being there can enable, and your team led by you as a manager can be successful and grow faster. That's the point that the organization is always drive. So what you are saying uh, matches to the point where we talk about the manager owns the entire P&L of that division or that project, and he has to manage it in a way that everybody is having equal and important growths accordingly there. Have I
So
made that?
yeah, that's it. So breaking that PNL in division wise is very, very important.
Yes.
So if a CEO has to be successful, CEO is not a magician.
Yeah.
CEO has to do this magic, that they have to bring transparency in the system. They have to develop the system and process in the system. They have to develop the clear KRA of this within the system. They have to make each and every department accountable, and there should be PNL of each and every department, and that should be transparent to the managers, that this is your role, this is your division, this is required to be delivered, and if you have delivered, your whole team has to celebrate. So
Yes.
if the CEO will act in that way, if they will give that ownership to the manager, believe me, they will not only get the success, but they will develop the future leader. So all these divisional manager, the manager of those division, they are preparing them to take a bigger role. They are preparing them to become the CEO of a big organization. They're preparing them to make the success of big, big, big project, not a small project what they are handling today. So that is the way to do it. So by investing in manager-led workforce development organization, that is basically they are investing in their future success, and that success is a sustainable success. This is not today you have achieved and tomorrow you will not achieve. If there is a process, if there is a defined things, if there is a transparency, if everything is there, you have trained your manager with the Regenesis framework. You have to prepare your manager to bear that hat, and they are taking the lead. Then that development, that success will be a sustainable success. And in fact, it is a journey of transformation that requires three things: dedication, perseverance, and a shared commitment to excellence.
I totally agree with that, Sunil. And in my experience, everything that you mentioned, particularly the celebration and the recognition of success, we know from the research that's been done, it's 4 times more effective at shaping powerful motivation and correct behavior than criticism. So it's a much better tool to use. And then if you're then focusing on the future and the journey and giving managers genuine P&L accountability, all the organizations that are the biggest in their sector and the biggest and the best in their field, they're usually 4 or more times bigger than their peers, and they're vastly more successful because every manager, every cog, if you like, in the machine is geared towards creating more contribution of value and revenue and profit than the costs they're incurring. So they are really aware of that balance between expenditure and income and how that results in the profits and the future success and growth of the business. I couldn't agree more. Prem, what do we say in conclusion? How do we draw all this together at the end today?
Thomas, it's been a profound insights today. We've seen enlightening discussions on transformation power of managers-led workforce development. With Regenesis framework, as we conclude, I encourage the views or to embrace the roles of architects of destiny, shaping workforce that embodies organization dreams. Okay, thank you for joining us, and may your journey on excellence be guided with passion and purpose we have for this journey, Thomas.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Prem. And I would just remind people at this moment, if you would like the checklist, just drop us your email, or if indeed you'd like to join one of our group sessions, our monthly group sessions, as a member of the Regenesis Managers Group, then please drop us that request, and we'll see to it. Whether you want to join a group or come in one-to-one with us is up to you, and we can talk to you about all of that. Okay, so thank you for everybody that's listening. I hope you've enjoyed what we've discussed today. And thank you to Sunil and Prem. It's been a great,
Thank you,
really
Sunil.
interesting conversation. Yeah.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Sunil, for being part of the show. With this, we would like to thank you very much. See you on the next session. Tomorrow, we have a session on inclusive features, women driving change in leadership at 9 p.m. Tomorrow. Do join us. Thank you.